Today's topic is photochemistry of vision. Before starting with this topic, I would like to revise what has been taught in previous classes. And as you all know, you have studied regarding the layers of retina. So you all know that photoreceptors are present in the retina. Rods and cones, they are the photoreceptors which are present in the retina. Rods, they are responsible for vision in dim light, which is also known as scotopic vision. Cones are responsible for color vision, and they are stimulated, or they are extremely sensitive to bright light, and they are responsible for photopic vision, and rods are responsible for scotopic vision. When rods and cones, they are excited, there is a process which is known as phototransduction. That means when the rods and cones, they are excited by the light, they absorb light energy and convert it into visual impulse, and this visual impulse is then transmitted through the various neural cells of the retina, ultimately reaching to optic nerve, and through the optic nerve, visual impulses are transmitted to the central nervous system, where the details of the visual image is analyzed. Rods and cones, they are stimulated with the visible spectrum of light. As you have already studied in physics, that white light is the spectrum of 7 colors. माइक होगा तो चलेगा माइक. White light is a spectrum of 7 colors, and as you all know, it is represented by VIBGYOR, VIBGYOR. So that wavelength of light ranges from about 400 nanometer to 750 nanometer. So visible spectrum of light is from the wavelength of 400 nanometer to 750 nanometer. When the wavelength of light is below 400 nanometer, those lights violet light. This ultraviolet light is absorbed by the choroid of layer of the eye, as a result of which it is not माइक आप निकाल. Rays of light whose wavelength is more than 75 nanometers, they are known as infrared lights. These infrared lights, they are absorbed by the cornea. So these ultraviolet light, which is absorbed by the choroid, and infrared lights, which are absorbed by the cornea, they are not able to stimulate rods and cones. So rods and cones, they are excited by the visible spectrum of light that ranges from about 400 nanometers to 750 nanometers. Now, rods and cones, they are known as the photoreceptors, and rods, as the name suggests, they are, their outer segment is long and slender, and cones, their name is cones because of the presence of conical shape of the outer segments. Rods are responsible for vision in dim light, which is also known as scotopic vision, and they are very sensitive to dim light. They are responsible for visualizing shades of gray, and they are responsible for black and white vision. And cones, they are responsible for color vision. They are stimulated maximally to bright light, and they are responsible for visual acuity, that is acute and detailed vision of the object. So cones, they are responsible for color vision. C for C, cones are responsible for the color vision, and they are stimulated maximally in the bright light, and they are responsible for photopic vision. Now, cones, they are maximally present in the central portion of the retina, that is known as macula, and in the macula there is a small area of about 0.4 millimeter square, which is known as fovea. Fovea contains maximum concentrations of the cones. So these cones, they are responsible for visual acuity, and that's why visual acuity is maximum at fovea. So and rods, they are distributed more peripherally, and their concentration decreases towards the central portion of the retina. Diameter of the rods in the peripheral portion is about 2 to 5 micrometer, and the diameter of cones in the central portion or in the peripheral portion, it is about 5 to 8 micrometer. But the cones which are present in the fovea, they are slender, and the diameter is about 1.5 micrometer, as a result of which concentration of the cones is maximum in fovea, and which is responsible for the acuity of vision. Acuity of vision means it is also described as resolving power of the eye. That means ability to distinguish 2-point sources or two parallel lines as two when they are separated by a minimal distance. If the distance is decreased beyond that, then two objects will be seen as a single object. It is also known as the resolving power of the eye, and it is responsible for acute and detailed vision. Now, we will discuss the structure of rods and cones. You can see that rods and cones, they consist of 4 functional segments. First portion is known as outer segment, then inner segment, nucleus, and synaptic body. Okay. So rods, as you can see, that outer segment is long and slender, just like a rod, therefore it is known as rod. This outer segment of the rods, and in cases of cones, you can see that outer segment is conical in shape. So outer segment of rods and cones, they contain a photosensitive pigment, that is, in cases of rods, it is known as rhodopsin, and in cases of cones, it is known as color photochemical. Now, these outer segment of rods and cones, they contain disc. There are about 1,000 discs, and these discs, they are actually enfoldings of the cell membrane of the rods and cones. In cases of cones, that is the continuous enfolding of the membranes, and in cases of rods, in the inner segment, you can see that in the lower portion, it is the continuation of the membrane of the rods and cone, cell membrane, you can say. And as these discs, they move towards the tip, they get separated. In cases of rods, they get separated from the cell membrane, and they form the flat disc, which are stacked one above the other. There are about 1,000 discs in the outer segment. Outer segment of rods and cones, it projects into the pigment layer of the retina. As you have studied the functions of pigment layers, retina pigment layer is responsible for absorption of light and it prevents reflection of light within the eye. Second function is it stores large amount of vitamin A, which is a precursor of the photosensitive chemical. Then another function of the pigment layer is the phagocytosis of the outer tip of the rods and cones which project into the pigment layer. So new discs, they are continuously formed from the lower portion of the outer segment of the rods and cones, and as they mature, they move rods and cones. Here at the tip, these discs, they are phagocytosed by the pigment cell layer. If the phagocytic function of the pigment cell layer is hampered, then it results into the collection of debris between the photoreceptors and the pigment layer of retina, leading to condition that is known as retinitis pigmentosa, which results subsequently into the blindness. Now these discs, they contain a photosensitive pigment. In cases of rods, that is known as rhodopsin, and in cases of cones, it is known as photopsin, or you can say color photochemical pigment. Now these photosensitive pigments, that is rhodopsin and photopsin, they are the conjugated proteins and they are incorporated into the membranes of the disc. Therefore, they are also known as transmembrane proteins. Then their concentration is very high in the outer segment of the rods and cones, and they constitute about 40% of the weight of the outer segment. Now, the inner segment, it contains cytoplasm, which is similar to the cell cytoplasm with cytoplasmic organelles. It contains large number of mitochondria, and this mitochondria, it provides energy for the functioning of rods and cones. Then comes the nucleus, which controls all the function, and then comes the synaptic zone or synaptic portion of the rods and cone, which forms synapses with the subsequent neuronal cells present in the retina, that is bipolar cells and horizontal cells. When light energy, it falls on these rods and cone, it results into the excitation of rods and cones, and it converts light energy into visual impulse that is transmitted to the central nervous system, and this process is known as phototransduction. Now again, what is photopic vision and what is scotopic vision? Photopic vision, it occurs in bright light, and in photopic vision, cones are functioning maximally. It is with the appreciation of minute details and color of the object. In cases of scotopic vision, it is also known as vision in dim light. Rods are responsible for scotopic vision, and they are capable of discriminating between the shades of black and white. Rods are more sensitive as compared to cones. Now, in between, there is another type of vision that is known as mesopic vision. Between the photopic vision and scotopic vision, there is another type of vision that is known as mesopic vision, that is also known as vision in full moonlight. Person can see the objects, but he is not able to read in that light, and that type of vision is known as mesopic vision. During the evening, there is a shifting from the photopic vision to scotopic vision, and this shifting of sensitivity of the eye from photopic to scotopic vision is known as Purkinje shift or Purkinje phenomena. Why this is known as Purkinje phenomena or Purkinje shift? Because there was one scientist as Purkinje, he discovered this phenomena, therefore it is known as Purkinje shift. Purkinje shift is shifting of sensitivity of the eye from the photopic to scotopic vision. That means from the cone vision to rod vision, and this is usually seen in the evening where the person moves from the bright light to dim light. Now this is the diagram of rods and cones. As I have already explained it to you that rods and cones, they contain 4 functional segments: outer segment, inner segment, nucleus and synaptic zone. So these are all the 4 segments of the rods and cones. Now the light sensitive photochemical is present in the outer segment of the rods and cones. It is a conjugated protein, transmembrane protein, which is incorporated into the disc present in the rods and cones. In cases of rods, this photosensitive chemical is known as rhodopsin, and in cases of cones, one of the color photochemical depending upon the type of the cones. As you all know and as you have all studied that there are 3 cones present in the retina which are responsible for the visualizing red, blue and green colors. These colors, they are known as primary colors, and there are 3 cones present in the retinas which are responsible for visualizing 3 colors, primary colors. So depending upon the presence of color photochemical in the cones, they are red cones, green cones and blue cones. Now the functions of excitation of the rods and cones is similar. Okay. The activity and functions, mechanism of excitation for rods and cone is same. Rods and cones, photochemical rods and cones, they are same, but only they differ in the chemical composition. So functioning, it remains same, but they differ in the chemical composition. So because of the difference in the chemical composition, their functions are almost same as that of the rhodopsin, but there is difference in the spectral sensitivity of both rods and cones. Now the neurotransmitter that is released by the rods and cones is glutamate. In neural cells of the retina, all the cells, they secrete glutamate except amacrine cells which secretes acetylcholine. Now the photochemical, now we will start with photochemistry of vision. Photochemicals in rods and cones, they decompose on exposure to light. They transform when they are excited, when rods and cones are excited, they transform light energy into visual impulse, and this process is known as phototransduction. Once the visual impulse is produced, it will be transmitted through the optic nerve to the cerebral cortex. Now, as I have already told you that the photochemical pigment which is present in the rods is known as rhodopsin. It is composed of 2 components. Rhodopsin is made up of opsin plus retinal. Opsin plus retinal, when they combine, they form visual pigment, and this visual pigment in cases of rods, it is known as rhodopsin, and in cases of cones, it is known as color photochemical pigment. So, is it clear that the visual pigment, either whether it is rhodopsin or it is photopsin, it is made up of two components. One is opsin, which is protein, and another is a carotenoid pigment that is known as retinal. This retinal portion, it remains same for both rods and cones. Only there is change in the protein portion of the visual pigment in cases of rods and cones. Now this retinal, it is the precursor of, vitamin. Vitamin A is the precursor of retinal. So as I have already told you that photochemical pigment, whether it is for rods and cones, it is made up of opsin plus retinal. In cases of rod, the visual pigment is known as rhodopsin. It is also known as visual purple. Protein portion, retinal portion for rods and cones, it remains same, but there is change in the protein portion of the visual pigment. So in cases of rhodopsin, it is retinal, and the protein which is present in the rods, it is known as scotopsin. So scotopsin, rhodopsin, or rods, they function in the dark or dim light, and they are also responsible for peripheral vision. In cases of cone, the photochemical pigment is a color photochemical pigment, or you can call it as photopsin. And photopsin, it is made up of opsin plus retinal. Now, in cases of cone, if it is a red cone, then opsin or protein which is present in that cone is red opsin. In cases of green cone, it is green opsin, and in cases of blue cone, it is blue opsin. So, in cases of red cone, it is the red opsin plus retinal. It forms the red sensitive photochemical, which particular wavelength of the light, and which is responsible for visualizing red color from the image. Now these rods, they function in bright light, as I have already told you, and they are responsible for photovision, and they are responsible for the color vision as well as visual acuity. Now, in cases of green cone, the opsin will be green opsin plus retinal. This retinal portion remains same for both rods and cones. There is only change in the protein portion, that is opsin, in the rods as well as cones. Now, what is this visual cycle? Rhodopsin retinal visual cycle, it is also known as Wald's visual cycle. It is for the excitation of the rods. Rods and cones, they are, once they are stimulated, then the rhodopsin, it begins to decompose, and it results into the excitation of, brings about electrical changes in rods and cones, and result in the generation of impulse. As I have already told you, that light, when it falls on the rods and cones, it will cause excitation of rods and cones. Now, how the light rays, they enter into the eye, it has been already told to you that rays of light, after crossing the lens of the eye, it enters into the eye, it crosses the vitreous humor, and it enters the retina from the inner layer, and it moves towards the rods and cone. It crosses all the layers of the retina, and ultimately it reaches rods and cones, where it will stimulate rods and cones. So The light, it crosses the vitreous humor, it enters through the inner layers of the retina, it will cross all the neural cells of the retina, homogeneous tissues, and it will reach the rods and cones, and ultimately it will excite rods and cones. Now, once the light energy, it reaches the rods and cones, it will be absorbed by the rhodopsin, and within fraction of second, these photochemicals either present in rods and cones, they will begin to decompose. And this process of decomposing of the rods and cones is because of the photoactivation of electron which is present in the retinal portion of these visual pigments. So have you understood that once the light energy, light rays, they enter into the eye, they reach rods and cones, they cause excitation of the rods and cones, because once the rods and cones, they are stimulated, rhodopsin or the photopsin which is present in the rods and cones, they will absorb light energy and electrical changes in the rod and cone. The rhodopsin, it absorbs light energy. Now it will begin to decompose within fraction of seconds, and this process is because of photoactivation of electron which is present in the retinal portion of the rhodopsin. Through various intermediate products, the retinal will be converted into the another form. Now for the rhodopsin to form, rhodopsin is composed of scotopsin and retinal. The retinal is also known as retinin, and retinin 1 is present in human eye. Retinin 2 is present in animal eye. So rhodopsin, it is made up of scotopsin, retinal. Now, which type of retinal is present in the rhodopsin? It is 11-cis retinal. 11-cis retinal is very important because this 11-cis retinal can only combine with the scotopsin to form rhodopsin. Other form of the retinal can combine with the scotopsin to form photosensitive chemical. Now the functioning of the rhodopsin and photopsin is almost same, but rhodopsin has been studied more, so this cycle has been described, and same implies for the functioning and activation of cones also. So once the light energy is absorbed by the rhodopsin or photopsin, it begins to process is because of photoactivation of electron which is present in the retinal portion of the rhodopsin. Now the opsin which is present in the rhodopsin is scotopsin, and the retinal which is present is of electron in the retinal portion of the rhodopsin. 11-cis retinal will be converted to all trans retinal, and there are various intermediate steps through which this conversion can take place, and it results into the formation of 11-cis retinal. Now we'll see the cycle. This visual cycle is also known as Wald's visual cycle. Visual cycle, it is a equilibrium between the decomposition and regeneration of photosensitive chemical. So that's why it is known as cycle, and we call it as rhodopsin retinal visual cycle. That means conversion of rhodopsin into retinal and again. So this entire cycle or equilibrium between the decomposition and regeneration of rhodopsin is known as visual cycle. It was discovered by the scientist Wald, and therefore it is known as Wald's visual cycle, and this cycle, it results into excitation of the rods, and it generates the visual impulse which is transmitted to central nervous system. Now this cycle is known as rhodopsin retinal visual cycle. What happens in this cycle? Once the light energy, it reaches the rods and cone, it is absorbed by the rhodopsin. It is the photochemical pigment which is present in the rods. It is absorbed, and within fraction of seconds it begins to decompose, and it will cause initiation of electrical changes in the rods and cones. Light energy will be converted into visual impulse. Ultimately, that process is known as phototransduction. So in rhodopsin retinal visual cycle, once the light energy is absorbed by the rhodopsin, within the fraction of seconds, that is within picoseconds, it is converted into an intermediate product that is known as bathmorhodopsin. This bathmorhodopsin, it is unstable compound, and within nanoseconds, it is converted into lumirhodopsin. Lumirhodopsin within microseconds get converted into another product that is known as metarhodopsin 1. This metarhodopsin 1 in milliseconds get converted into another product that is known as metarhodopsin 2. This metarhodopsin 2, it is also known as activated rhodopsin, and this activated rhodopsin initiates the process of phototransduction. So this conversion of metarhodopsin 2 is a slow process, and within seconds it gets split into all transretinal and scotopsin. It is a slow process, and there is complete split of the scotopsin and all transretinal. So once this all transretinal, in the presence of enzyme isomerase, will be converted into 11-cis retinal. And once this 11-cis retinal is formed, it will automatically combine with scotopsin to form, within minutes, it will form rhodopsin. So, combination of 11-cis retinal and scotopsin, it does not require darkness, but for conversion of all transretinal to all 11-cis retinal, enzyme isomerase is required, which gets activated in the dark and will convert the all transretinal to 11-cis retinal. All transretinal and 11-cis retinal, they are the isomers. The chemical composition is same, but they differ in the physical structure. Now, 11-cis retinal, it is a bent structure, and it remains in combination with the protein that is scotopsin. Now, once there is photoactivation of the electron present in the retinal portion of the rhodopsin, it gets through all these intermediate steps, it gets converted into all transretinal. This all transretinal is a straight molecule, and it does not remain fitted into the three-dimensional structure of the protein scotopsin, and gradually it gets separated from the scotopsin, resulting into the separation or splitting of scotopsin and all transretinal. So is this clear? Decomposition of rhodopsin and again formation of the rhodopsin. This cycle is known as visual cycle, rhodopsin retinal visual cycle, or Wald's cycle. Now there is another route by which all transretinal can be converted into 11-cis retinal. How this occurs? There is an alternative pathway. All transretinal, when it is present in the excess amount in the retina, it can be converted into all transretinol in the presence of enzyme alcohol dehydrogenase. Alcohol dehydrogenase, it converts all trans retinal, it reduces all trans retinal to all trans retinol, which is one form of vitamin A. Now, vitamin A, I have already told you that vitamin A is also known as precursor of photosensitive pigments. Vitamin A, it is present in large amount in the pigment layer of the retina, and it is also present in large amount in the cytoplasm of the rods and cones. So, and there is exchange between the vitamin A, you can say that there is exchange of vitamin A between the pigment layer and between the rods and cones, according to the requirement. So, when there is excess of retinal in the retina, it gets converted into vitamin A, or you can say all trans retinal, and it remains in the pigment layer and it remains in the cytoplasm of the rods and cones. Okay, and vitamin A plays a very important role in the synthesis of photosensitive chemical. Now, regarding the alternate route, all trans retinal can be converted into all trans retinol, and then all trans retinol in the dark in presence activates the enzyme isomerase and gets converted into all 11-cis retinol. Then this 11-cis retinol will be converted into 11-cis retinal, which is the ultimate product which will combine with the scotopsin to form rhodopsin. Once the 11-cis retinol is formed, it will automatically combine with the scotopsin to form rhodopsin. So vitamin A, it is required for synthesis of new red, which will again form the visual pigment. In the dim light, where more concentration of rhodopsin is required, more and more retinal is required, which will combine with the scotopsin to form rhodopsin. So, retina, it is very sensitive to dim light. When we want to see objects in dim light or in the dark, at that time, concentration of rhodopsin in the retina should be more. So how this concentration will be increased in the retina? Retinol, or the vitamin A, which is present in the pigment layer and in the rods and cones, will be converted into all trans retinal. And this all trans retinol in presence of enzyme isomerase will be converted into 11-cis retinal, and this 11-cis retinal will combine with scotopsin to form rhodopsin. Or it can take another pathway, all trans retinol will be converted in the presence of enzyme isomerase in the dark, and it will be converted to 11-cis retinol, and this 11-cis retinol will be then converted into 11-cis retinal. And then ultimately 11-cis retinal, it will automatically combine with the scotopsin, and within minutes rhodopsin will be formed. So concentration of rhodopsin can be increased in the retina. Similarly, when decrease, how sensitivity of the retina will decrease? By decomposition of more and more rhodopsin which is present in the retina. So decomposition of the rhodopsin, it depends upon the intensity of the light. If intensity of the light will be more, decomposition of the retina, rhodopsin will be more, and sensitivity of the retina will decrease, so that person can see the objects in bright light. So when the person is exposed to bright light, rhodopsin will decompose and there will be formation of all trans retinal. When the concentration of retinal in the retina, it increases, it gets converted into all trans retinol, and this all trans retinol will be then stored in the cytoplasm of the rods and cones and in the pigment layer of the retina. Now this process, it also plays a very important role in dark and light adaptation that we will discuss in our next class. Now deficiency of the vitamin A. You must have heard about the condition that is known as night blindness. And you must also be knowing that this night blindness is because of deficiency of vitamin A. So when normally vitamin A is stored in large amount in the liver, and as such deficiency does not occur. For deficiency of vitamin A to occur, person has to be on the vitamin A deficient diet for a very long period of time. So once this vitamin A deficiency develops, new retinal cannot be formed, and as a result of which the concentration of the rhodopsin, it decreases. During the night time or during the evening, when the sensitivity of the retina has to be increased, so more and more amount of rhodopsin has to be formed. For that, vitamin A will be converted into retinal, and ultimately 11-cis retinal will be formed. So if there is deficiency of vitamin A, retinal will not be formed, and as a result of which the concentration of rhodopsin in the retina, in rods and cones will be decreased, and person will not be able to see in the dim light, and that condition is known as night blindness. During the daytime, because of the bright light, this compensation will occur, and person will be able to see the objects with the help of cones. Now, once the rhodopsin has been decomposed and results in the formation of metarhodopsin 2, which is known as activated rhodopsin, it causes, हो गया टाइम, 1 घंटा हो गया, बस 10 मिनट. So, once the activated metarhodopsin 2 is formed, which is also known as activated rhodopsin, it will initiate the process of phototransduction. Then what is this phototransduction? As I have already told you, that it is the conversion of light energy into visual impulse. Now, how this excitation of rods and cones takes place in the process of phototransduction, for that I will explain you the movement of sodium ions in the outer and inner segments of the rods and cones. During the dark state, there is a complete circuit or complete current of sodium ions. It flows between the outer segment and the inner segment of the rods and cones. In the inner segment, sodium-potassium pump is present. So this sodium-potassium pump will continuously pump sodium outside from the rods and cones, thus increasing negativity inside the photoreceptors. Once these sodium ions, they move out, the outer segment during the dark state, it is leaky to sodium ions. These channels, sodium channels in the outer segment of the eye, they remain in the rods and cones, they remain open, and the sodium ions now will enter from the outer segmented channels which are present on the outer segment into the rods and cones, thus neutralizing the negativity which has developed inside the rods and cones. Have you understood that this is the structure of rods and cones? It has got outer segment and inner segment. I will telling you regarding the flow of the sodium ions during the dark state, how the movement of sodium ions takes place in these rods and cones when it is dark. So sodium-potassium channels, sodium-potassium pump, it is present in the inner segment, which will pump sodium ions from inside the photoreceptors into the outside the photoreceptors, increasing negativity inside the photoreceptors. Now the sodium ions, outer segment of these rods and cones, it is leaky to sodium ions in the dark. So sodium ions will move from the inner segment to the outer segment, and through the channels, sodium channels which are present in the outer segment, they will enter into the rods and cones, thus neutralizing the negativity which has developed inside the rods and cones, thus producing the resting membrane potential of about 40 millivolts. So the resting membrane potential in rods and cones is minus 40 millivolts. Now what happens once the rods and cones are excited? This process of excitation of rods and cones, it is the excitation cascade, and which amplifies the effect of single photon of light to million folds. So once rods and cones are excited, and it results into the formation of active rhodopsin, or you can say metarhodopsin 2 or active rhodopsin. Once this active rhodopsin is formed, it will activate many molecules of transducin, which is a G protein which is present in the membrane of the disc in the rods and cones. Many of these molecules of activated transducin will in turn activate many molecules of enzyme phosphodiesterase. This molecule of once the phosphodiesterase enzyme is activated, it will cause hydrolysis of cyclic GMP. This cyclic GMP is attached to the sodium channels. So the sodium channels which are present in the outer segment, they are the cyclic GMP mediated sodium channels. Now during the dark state, these cyclic GMP, it acts as a splint to these sodium channels, and these sodium channels, they are kept open during the dark stage. Once the rods and cones are exposed to the light, rhodopsin gets decomposed and it results into the formation of active rhodopsin. This active rhodopsin, then it will cause activation of enzyme transducin. Transducin will cause activation of phosphodiesterase enzyme, and this phosphodiesterase enzyme will then cause hydrolysis of cyclic GMP, which acted as a splint during the dark state. So this cyclic GMP, once it gets hydrolyzed, it will cause closure of the sodium channel, thus obliterating the flow of the sodium ion into the photoreceptors through the outer segment. But lower segment, it will continue to pump sodium ions out, increasing negativity inside the cells. But entry of sodium through the outer segment is blocked, as a result of which neutralization of negativity inside the cell will not take place, and the potential which will develop in the rods and cones will be hyperpolarizing potential, which is about -70 to -80. And now this is the point to be noted, that when rods and cones are excited, it leads to the development of potential which is different from the other receptors. In other receptors, when they are excited, there is depolarization. But in cases of rods and cones, when they are excited, there is hyperpolarization. So it is different from the other receptors. Receptors, rods and cones, when they are excited, hyperpolarization is there. They are excited by the process of hyperpolarization. And the membrane potential, it changes from -40 to it becomes -70 or -80. Now, as the intensity of light is more, the degree of hyperpolarization will be more, and more and more excitation of the rods and cones will take place. So, now what is the characteristics of the receptor potential that develops in the rods and cones? It is hyperpolarizing type of potential, and the neurotransmitter that is released by these rods and cones is glutamate. Once there is hyperpolarization, there is decreased secretion of glutamate. The potential is hyperpolarizing type of potential. It is local graded potential, and it is transmitted through the electrotonic conduction to the other cells of retina. Electrotonic conduction means there is direct flow of electric current from one cell to another. So this is the characteristics of the receptor potential that is developed in rods and cones. This is another diagram which is showing the phototransduction. This is rods and cones. These are the discs which contains the photosensitive pigment that is known as rhodopsin. So when this is the structure of the rhodopsin, it is also known as visual purple. When the light falls on the rhodopsin, it causes activation of transducin, and this transducin then causes activation of enzyme phosphodiesterase, and this phosphodiesterase then causes the splitting of cyclic GMP, and this cyclic GMP, it is attached to sodium channels which are present on the outer segment. It acts as a splint. So once this cyclic GMP is hydrolyzed, it will cause closure of sodium channels, and entry of sodium channels in the outer segment will decrease, resulting into hyperpolarization. As lower segment, it continues to pump sodium out. Now, after a second, another enzyme, rhodopsin kinase, will be activated, and it will cause breakdown, and the entire cycle will be reversed, leading to opening of sodium channels. Thus, rods and cones have developed an important chemical cascade that amplifies the effect of single photon of light to cause the movements of millions of sodium ions. So, this cascade, it amplifies the effect of single photon of light to million folds. So, that's why the rods, it is extremely sensitive to the dark condition. Sensitivity of the cones is 30 to 300 times less as compared to rods. Now, as I've already told you that photochemical present in the cones is more or less similar to that of the rhodopsin. Only there is change in the chemical composition, functioning, and excitation of photopsin. It remains same as that of the rhodopsin. So in cases of cones, it is the retinal and photopsin which forms the color photochemical pigment. In blue cones, there is a blue sensitive pigment. In green cone, there is a green sensitive pigment. And in red cone, there is a red sensitive pigment. Mechanism of excitation is same as that of the rhodopsin. Now, what is the duration of receptor potential? In cases of rods, the onset of the receptor potential is very sharp, but offset is slow. In cases of cones, onset and offset, they both are, there is a sharp onset and sharp offset. In cases of rod, peak of the receptor potential, it develops within 0.3 seconds and lasts for more than a second. That's why a visual impulse, which is impinged on the retina for the fraction of seconds, it image lasts on the retina for more than a second. Now, changes in the cones, they are 4 times faster as compared to rods. Now, as I have already told you that there is a logarithmic relationship of receptor potential to the intensity of light. More is the intensity of the light, more will be hyperpolarization, more will be the degree of hyperpolarization. So that's all regarding the photochemistry of vision. Only thing that you have to remember that The photoreceptors are rods and cones. They contain a photosensitive chemical. In cases of rods, it is rhodopsin. In cases of cone, it is photopsin, or you can say color photochemical pigment. Once they are excited, it leads to the process of phototransduction. Phototransduction means conversion of light energy into the visual impulse, which is transmitted to the central nervous system. And the most important thing that you have to remember is the potential that is developed in the rods and cones is hyperpolarizing type of potential. When rods and cones are excited, they produce a potential which is different from the other receptors, and this potential is hyperpolarizing type of potential. So that's all. Next topic will be dark and light adaptation. Thank you.